NCAA basketball totals for Wednesday, December 28th. For you new guys, this is where we look at some college basketball games, and we look at the total set by oddsmakers. We try to beat that line either over or under the total. We got 4 games on the card today, so we got to get right into it. Yesterday, we were 1-2, so another bad day in NCAA. Got a little bad luck because Michigan State and Minnesota went to overtime, but that happens. Sometimes it works for our favor. Yesterday, it worked against us. It does seem like this year it has gone against us more than for us, but in my experience, over the last several years, those averages will eventually work out. Just some tough luck, and we just got to move on from there. So not doing great in NCAA totals, a little bit over 500. NBA about the same. So we're not doing as well as we'd like to be doing, but we're going to continue to grind away. I hope you find the information at least decent, for you to go ahead and make a really solid assessment. Again, we got 4 games on the card today. We also have our NBA segment out there, which covers the same exact topic. And don't forget to check, as always, SBR, the best website out there as far as sportsbook reviews, because that's the name of our website. All the odds and all the numbers are there, especially sportsbooks that you need to avoid. Sign up bonuses, really important aspect of our website, so be sure to check it out. These videos are free, and we want you guys to enjoy them and make some good assessments, and we want you guys to profit. So hopefully that will happen. Let's go ahead and let's dive into today. We got some really good matchups, 4 games, so we got to get going. All right, I digress. Here we go. Virginia, Louisville, 119.5, and I'm going under. Great defensive matchup. Bennett, Patino, this is going to be awesome. You got Virginia right now averaging 69.8 points per game. Louisville, 78 points per game. 2 really good scoring teams. The last 4 times they've matched up, the only 4 times really they've matched up, over the last 15 years, every one of the games has been under this total. And this one I don't think is going to be any different. Although I could see why people want to go over, especially when we saw Louisville play Kentucky at a pretty fast tempo. Virginia is not Kentucky. It's a completely different dynamic. These are 2 teams that love to grind it out, play great defense, and that's exactly what we're going to see tonight. Louisville's allowing 60.2 points per game. Virginia's allowing 47.2 points per game. A ridiculous number. That ranks first in the country. Now, this game's at Louisville, so the Cardinals might be able to score a little bit, but 119, I think that's actually too high. I think this is going to end up around 110. With these 2 great defense. You got Louisville, they're allowing opponents to shoot 36.2% from the floor. They're ranked 5th in the country. Virginia, they're allowing opponents to shoot 34% from the floor. They're ranked 2nd in the country. So the only reason this is actually at 119 is because you got 2 good teams. They're well-rounded. Louisville, they shoot 43.4% from the floor. They're ranked right in the middle of NCAA hoops. And Virginia, they're shooting 49.8%. That actually ranks 12th in the country, but they are playing at Louisville. So I don't know if they're going to be scoring as much. I kind of like Virginia getting the points in this, by the way, getting the 3. I think they could beat Louisville. Louisville coming off that big emotional win against Kentucky, but Virginia, don't sleep on them. They're really tough. I like them to go ahead and hang with Louisville. But on the total, I like it to stay under that 119 and a half. All right, next one up we got is North Carolina, Wilmington, and Clemson. This Clemson team has been amazing. And the reason I say that, because they've been so locked in defensively over the past couple of seasons, and this year it's not like that at all. Clemson is averaging 77.3 points per game. That's amazing. Defensively, they've always been kind of a real grind-out team, almost like a Virginia type of team, but that's not their style anymore. They're getting up and down, and they're playing great D. They're allowing just 63.3 points per game. But why do I like the over? Because I think they're going to score probably 90 points against UNC Wilmington. They're scoring 83.1 points per game. They're not going to score that much tonight against Clemson, but they're allowing right now 71.7 points per game. But more alarming than that, that's not that high. But what's pretty crazy, though, is they're allowing opponents to shoot 49.4% from the floor. That ranks almost last in NCAA basketball. Clemson's going to score a ton. Wilmington really likes to get up and down the floor. Clemson's going to be fine with that, because right now you got a Wilmington team. They're getting up almost 64 attempts per game. They rank just about 20th in the country. Clemson has no problem with that. They're allowing just over 58. Clemson defensively is good. They rank in the top 100 in just about every category. But Wilmington could score a little bit. Right now, they're shooting 49% from the floor. They're ranked 21st in the country. Now, they haven't played a ton of really tough competition. Their toughest one probably being against Middle Tennessee State, and they didn't score, a lot, just 63 points in that game. But Middle Tennessee State doesn't go at the same tempo as Clemson does. So I like for this game to really get up and down. That's a big total, but oddsmakers said it there for a reason at 152, and I like for them to get over. I think they're going to be up and down all night. I think Clemson's going to score about 90, and we're going to see something like a 94 to I don't know, 94-70 sort of final, something like that. I think they're really going to get after it. Next one up, we got Iowa and Purdue, another big total, and another one I'm going over. It's 155. Fran McCaffrey and Matt Painter, two of my favorite coaches in NCAA hoops. Really like these guys. I'm going over that 155. When we looked at Purdue and Iowa, they've been pretty much around this total. Let me get some past statistics since I am at my computer, and I want to make sure we cover all our bases. I had it up, but I closed it out. Let's just talk about some statistics real quick right now while I get this up. Iowa's always really fast. McCaffrey, 84.6 points per game. They're ranked 17th in the country. Purdue, 84.3 points per game. They're ranked 22nd. Defensively, they're not bad. Purdue's good. 63.3 points allowed per game. They're ranked 30th in the country. Iowa, 76 points per game. This game's at Purdue, and I think Purdue's going to be able to score. Let's look at some past matchups real quick. Go ahead and bring this up while I continue with these statistics. They can both shoot. I mean, good. They're solid around, from the interior extended. They're solid. You got a Iowa team that shoots 53.3% of their 2-point shots, and they shoot 37% from distance. And then you got a Purdue team. They shoot almost 50% from the field. They're ranked 14th in the country in shooting percentage, and they're shooting over 41% from distance. That ranks 9th in the country. They're going to be able to score tonight against an Iowa team that always gets up and down. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring up their head-to-head results. Make sure I bring that up because we want to cover this. So last year, the last two games they met up, we saw an 83-71 and a 70-63. So the last time they met up, 154. This is at 155. But the totals that the odds makers have set up between these two teams, let's look at the last four times. 150.5, 133.5, 142.5, and 142.5. Now it's at 155. That looks too high. It's not. I think they're really going to get up and down. And there's, again, just like that Wilmington Clemson game, there's a reason why it's set so high. And I like for these guys to get over that total. Two good scoring teams. Purdue does play some D, but Iowa pushes so much pace. I think Purdue's going to go ahead and run with them. All right, last one up we got today is USC and Oregon State. I looked at this one for a while. Andy Enfield, my first of all, he's doing a tremendous job at USC. I mean, they were supposed to be thin this year, and he's been outstanding. When I think of Enfield, I think of that Florida Gulf Coast team and them getting really up and down the floor. But what people forget is he's actually a really good defensive coach. Oregon State goes so slow. Right now, odds makers have this at 133.5. Let me double check that. 133.5, and I'm going under. USC actually plays great defense. Let's look at these numbers here. Right now, USC is scoring 83.2 points per game. That gives me a little bit of pause at this 133. But then we look at Oregon State. They're averaging just 65.3. Still, you average that up. That gets us that's 148. That gets us well over the 133.5. But defensively, and even defensively, you got Oregon State allowing 68 points per game and USC allowing 70.2. Now, USC goes pretty fast, but their defensive percentages, check this out, really, really solid. They're allowing opponents to shoot 39% from the floor and 43% of their 2-point shots. That ranks as one of the best teams in the country. It's in that top 30 sort of range. From a team that likes to kind of get up and down the floor, that's really good. Now, the games at Oregon State, and Oregon State has gone so slow all year. They're averaging right now 51.8 attempts per game. That ranks just about dead last in college basketball. USC, they like to get up and down the floor, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it against an Oregon State team that just likes to grind it out. USC, they're averaging about 62 attempts per game, and they could shoot 46.8% from the floor. Oregon State, though, their scoring defense is okay, but their defensive percentages are solid. They're allowing opponents, much like USC, to shoot just 39% from the floor, and Oregon State's also allowing opponents to shoot just 42.7% of their 2-point shots. Decent from distance, 33% they're allowing. And USC has been good, across the board as well in those percentages. They're allowing opponents to shoot under 33% from distance. So I don't see this getting over that 133.5. I could see why. First looking at that, you see USC, you think it's going to be a little bit low, but I think this game being at Oregon State is going to really set the tempo, and I like for them to stay under this total. All right, we got 4 games on the card. Quick recap. A lot of basketball out there today. Here we go. We got Virginia and Louisville, arguably the best game of the day, 119.5. I'm going under that total. North Carolina, Wilmington, and a Clemson team that goes surprisingly fast over the 152. Iowa, Purdue on a number that's a lot higher that's been set than we've seen recently. Check out SBR again to see where that number moves, because this is a much bigger number than we've seen from these two teams in years past. But I'm going to go over the 155. Finally, USC, Oregon State, 2 underrated defensive teams on the percentage-wise, defensive percentages under the 133.5. All right, those are our 4 plays. Hopefully we have a bounce-back day from yesterday in NCAA college hoops, and I wish you luck on your picks today.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SPR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.